Hello, everyone. My name is Jan Kozel. Welcome to the Evolving Education, a video series that intends to present new principles, directions, models, methods, and tools in education. In this series, we try to seek an answer on how education should evolve in response to societal change. Rethinking education with the help of invited experts can let us explore how and in what way pedagogy, formal and non-formal education, training, coaching, tutoring, guidance, and mentoring can be developed in order to educate and train young people and adults to meet the demands of the labor market in our globally interconnected digital age. Evolving education offers a deep dive into how educators can harness new technologies, learning sciences, skills, competences, and pedagogy that center learners and learning. The interviews are available on our YouTube channel and on Eminas Foundation's website at eminafoundation.eu. Our guest today is Karolina Pyzik, psychologist and founder of Senfineco Association, a youth non-governmental organization focused on critical thinking, social dialogue, and global education learning. She participated in more than 10 Erasmus Plus mobilities, including youth exchanges, trainings, personal student mobilities, and internships. She also, between 2015 and 2018, she worked as an assistant of an international project manager. She was also creator of project proposals within Erasmus Plus and national funds. So Karolina will be talking about the topic of the Norwegian folk school model in more detail. So Karolina, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Anne, for the invitation. Yes, indeed, I would like to introduce you some more information about the concept of folk school, because Senfineco Association is settled in Poland. And as probably all our listeners know, in Poland, we do not really have the very much extended or developed non-formal education based on the Scandinavian models. We're trying to learn the best from the Scandinavian model of folk school, among others, the Norwegian folk school. This is why with our partner organization, Rogaland Folk Academy and Level Up Association from Poland, we decided to look closer to this kind of education. Well, within the Erasmus Plus, we knew a lot about the Finnish or non-formal education or formal education, which still differs a lot from the Polish model. And this time we will strive to find a great partner from Norway can introduce us the folk school model. What is this? In few words, the folk school is not the formal school, neither the format of school you can attend on a daily basis as your regular kind of education. We are really surprised that after high school, a lot of students do not decide to start the university right away, but rather go to or army or folk school or start volunteering, simply take a gap year. In Poland, we still do not have this habit, and our students, our youth after graduation in high school are sort of still forced by their parents to start a university right away, which what comes from our research is not really influencing the educational process after a couple of years, because we're facing the brain drain or the burnout on the very start of the professional career. This is the prevention process which folk school in Norway implemented already in 19th century. In 18 something, the very first folk school was settled in Denmark, then in Norway, in Sweden, in Finland, and in Iceland. Within the folk school, you're attending all 9 months of a program out of your hometown, out of your university, and you're attending fully full 9 months with the group of people we applied for a program with. So in short, you're in some remote place. It can be mostly it is on some farm or on a seaside when you're somehow separated from your family and from the community you belong to on a daily basis. And throughout the process of 9 months school, you're learning extremely different subjects than in a regular school. Every folk school is focused on a different profile, meaning you can choose the sailing, the photography, psychology, self-development, hiking, video games development, coding. Each school has a very different profile and the main path you can choose, which is very important, is the fact that you are not forced to take any exam, or there is no grade, there are no recognition, there is no recognition process, and there is no recognition element of your knowledge afterwards, because you're attending the classes because you want to, and you are choosing the profile of the school you would love to develop yourself in. Beyond the main path, you're also having some additional subjects on which you're spending your free time on. Well, what is essential also, and what is pretty much surprising for us in Poland, is the focus on the physical education, because besides the 5-6 hours of a main subjects in a folk school, you're also having a lot of sport activities and also teamwork activities. The very next focus out of folk school is this teamwork and team building aspect, because they believe, the teachers and headmasters, the whole program of each folk school is concentrated around the teamwork and the skills of cooperation, because also the graduates admit that after the folk school they can learn, they can work a lot better in their local community, or as volunteers, or in any on any career path they choose, no matter what subject and no matter what field they study career in, just because during the 9 months they've been learning a lot about living together, sharing the space, sharing their interests, respecting the opinions, and simply learning how to cooperate with very different people, because in a folk school you gotta have a group of people who come from very different parts of Norway. So you simply have to learn how to deal with all those differences. We visited 3 folk schools, and each of them was the very unique and fascinating story itself. However, they all belong to the one system.
Okay, thank you very much for your interesting speech. I think that it is an interesting model to pursue, not only, of course, for Poland, but for all of the other countries. And we can move on to the 2 questions that I have prepared for you. So you mentioned that you want to kind of transfer this idea of the folk schools to Poland. As Poland is a different culture to Norway, do you plan on making any amendments to the folk school system when transferring them to Poland?
For sure, it would be the very ambitious aim to implement the folk school in Poland. However, for sure, we want to first start with the elements of a folk school program to Polish non-formal education, but within the project, within the Experimentarium in Poland, we would like to tackle both non-formal education and formal by the workshops we are creating. therefore, we planned to implement some workshops on the folk school, and hopefully elements like building the relationship, the trust, the relationship between teacher and learner based on based on trust and based on this common cooperation and being sure that I'm learning from you and you're learning from me process is mutual. There is no hierarchy and there is no authority in a folk school. And these are the aspects we would love to work a lot in Polish school. What's more, also focus on the physical activities and attitude towards learning process itself. That would be a dream if our learners focus, and students from high school on focus most on the subjects like in democratic schools. Somehow they want to learn, not they are forced to learn. So I think that maybe in the long run, more and more elements of non-formal education and folk school from Norway will be implemented, but we are starting with small steps, also because what you said, because of the cultural differences, of course.
Thank you for the answer. I especially think that it's important that students want to learn, because that's the most important thing they can really get out of education. So we can move on to the last question, the second question. What made you at first interested in the Norwegian folk school model system and not any other system of education?
In our team, we have examples of graduates who were attending to folk school in Denmark. We started making some more research, and we had an interview with a former student of a folk school, which made us fascinated with the path of her career and the choices she made on her career. However, still she's not even 30, so she's somehow still starting her professional development. However, in 5 or 6 years, in Senfineco, we've been observing a lot the Finnish non-formal education, but we've never been interested really what's happening in different countries from Scandinavia. So we started getting to know what is exactly the folk school in Finland. Then we met the person from the folk school in Norway from our team. Then she joined us as a volunteer, and step by step we're discovering that this element is something unique and not really transferable to the Polish ground. And also the entire background why students choose the folk school and the personal aims and personal goals standing behind this choice are somehow maybe surprising and fast-provoking for us, because what's standing behind the choice is rather the self-development goal and self-esteem development, not really, the hard competences, paper, certificates, and central. And in results, this soft skills benefit a lot more, as we observe, than those paper certificates and simply the documents which you have in your drawer and you enclose them to your CV. So we simply see the results.
Thank you so much for your answer to the last question. And that would be the end of this short interview. I hope that our viewers have enjoyed it and will join us in the next installments of the Evolving Education series, which, as I said before, will be available on YouTube and on the Amina Foundation website. Thank you and goodbye.